Okay, so you're here because you want to get smart, fast, cut through all the chatter, and really get the core of what's important. And that's what we do. Today, we're diving deep into Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, this setting, feudal Japan, fans have been asking for this for like years. So our mission today is to really unpack what makes this game potentially, a big deal for the series based on what we know so far. Think of this as your quick guide to understanding the appeal. And our info comes from details about the limited edition on PS5.
Exactly. The hype for Assassin's Creed in Japan is, well, it's been massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, the goal is to look past that buzz and see what Ubisoft's actually bringing to the table, why this could be, significant.
Right. Let's get straight into it then. The headline feature seems to be these dual protagonists, two completely separate characters you play as. Tell us about Naoe and Yasuke. What's the difference?
Well, the contrast is really striking, and it seems very deliberate. First up, Naoe. She's a shinobi assassin. And when we say shinobi, think classic stealth, agility, staying hidden, avoiding direct fights if possible. The source talks about her being quick, using rooftops, scaling castles, all that iconic stuff. Silent takedowns very much echoes the series' roots.
Okay, so she's that pure stealth experience many fans love. And then Yasuke. He sounds completely different.
Totally different, yeah. If Nao's the shadow, Yasuke is like the storm. He's based on a real historical figure samurai, and his gameplay is all about power, brutal, direct combat. Where Naoe avoids conflict, Yasuke can just walk right into it. Think more like a tank. He can take hits, dish out heavy damage. It's a complete flip.
So it's not just a cosmetic swap. The actual way you play changes fundamentally depending on who you pick. How does that work in missions? Do you choose?
It sounds like there's a lot of flexibility, yeah. For many missions, you can apparently choose Naoe or Yasuke. It lets you tailor your approach. Want to sneak in unseen? Go Naoe. Prefer to smash through the front gate? Yasuke's your guy. And that naturally adds replay value, right? You can try missions again with a totally different strategy.
That's a really cool dynamic. Okay, so these characters operate in feudal Japan, the setting. What's the world like? What feel are they going for?
The sources really emphasize how atmospheric and immersive this Sengoku-era Japan is. And remember, this was a time of conflict, the Warring States period, so it's dramatic. They seem to be nailing the details. We're hearing about like cherry blossoms, the sound of floorboards creaking in a dojo. Just phenomenal attention to recreating that feel, that authenticity.
Yeah, those little sensory details are what make historical settings come alive. Does it feel like a living world, though, not just a pretty backdrop?
That seems to be a key goal. You've got bustling towns, but also countryside that's beautiful but potentially dangerous. And importantly, the map is described as handcrafted, which suggests, less procedural generation and more deliberate design, placing things intentionally. Plus, weather and seasons actually matter. Rain affects visibility, maybe makes surfaces slippery. Snow might muffle sounds. It's integrated into gameplay.
That's smart. Weaving the environment right into how you play. And the architecture. The castles, villages, shrines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The info mentions sprawling castles, quaint villages, mountain shrines, dense forests, all rendered with apparently great detail. And they do mention the PS5 power helping with smooth performance and loading, which is crucial, right, for keeping you immersed in a world like that.
Definitely. Okay, let's talk gameplay mechanics. Assassin's Creed always balances stealth and combat. Sounds like Shadows is shaking things up a bit on both fronts. Let's start with stealth.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty significant stealth overhaul. Maybe a reaction to recent games leaning more into RPG action. They seem to be doubling down on stealth again. We're hearing about smarter AI, enemies that react more realistically, a better cover system, more tools for Naoe using tall grass, whistling darts, putting out torches, a grappling hook for verticality. Classic stuff, but refined. And enemies supposedly investigate properly now. They'll actually search, not just walk back and forth on a set path.
Sounds much more engaging, more tactical. Okay, but what if stealth fails, or you just want to fight? What's the combat like, especially with Yasuke?
Yasuke's combat is described as feeling weighty, impactful. Swinging a katana or a big kanabo club should feel powerful. Parrying is key, apparently. And the enemy AI sounds tougher in combat, too. They'll try to flank you, work together, call backups. It's not just one-on-one duels. Plus, there are things like dual stances, maybe different attack speeds or defensive options, and a skill tree, suggesting real depth if you want to master that direct approach.
So yeah, it really reinforces that idea of two distinct ways to play. All right, shifting gears slightly, what about the story? Beyond the gameplay differences, what kind of narrative are we getting with Naoe and Yasuke?
It sounds like it might be a bit more grounded, more personal than some of the huge continent-spanning epics we've seen. The focus seems to be Nao's quest for justice, maybe revenge, and Yasuke's path towards redemption or fulfilling his duty. That contrast in their motivations is meant to create some interesting emotional depth. And their relationship supposedly evolves organically through the story. Could be quite character-driven.
And how's it presented? Voice acting, cutscenes?
Presentation seems strong.
Yeah.
Good voice acting mentioned. And importantly, the option for native Japanese voices with subtitles, which is great for authenticity. Well-crafted cutscenes, too. The feeling is that it's more about these characters' personal journeys within the historical setting, rather than just a history lesson. Oh, and for those less keen on the modern-day stuff, sounds like it's pretty minimal here, keeping the focus on Japan.
That will definitely please a lot of people. Okay, the open world itself, you mentioned handcrafted. Does that mean it's smaller,
Yeah.
less overwhelming than, say, Odyssey or Valhalla?
That seems to be the implication, yeah.
Yeah.
A move away from sheer map size towards a more curated experience. Still plenty to do, mind you. Side missions, hidden shrines, lore scrolls, assassination contracts, all that stuff is there.
Yeah.
But the overall world might feel more focused, less bloated with icons, perhaps.
Quality over quantity, maybe. What kind of side activities are we talking about?
The side quests are flagged as being pretty good, apparently. Meaningful stories, maybe tied into historical events or cultural practices of the era. So you learn more about the world that way. And getting around sounds improved, too. Nao's parkour is fast and fluid, and that grappling hook adds a lot of vertical freedom for everyone, it seems. More ways to explore and approach targets.
Right. Now, this limited edition, we're basing this on the Amazon UK one. What extras does it actually include? Anything worthwhile?
Yeah, a few things. There's a bonus quest called Thrown to the Dogs. Sound like a decent chunk of extra gameplay, unique boss fight, high-level rewards, adds a bit more story. Then there's a Secure You character pack. Basically some cool-looking themed gear weapons, outfits that might give you a bit of an edge early on. And for collectors, the physical package itself, a nice steelbook case with Japanese-style art. Sounds like a premium touch for the big fans.
Physical goodies are always nice for collectors. All right, performance. Technical stuff is key for these big open worlds. How does Shadows run on the PS5 based on this info?
It sounds pretty polished, actually. The source mentions consistent frame rates, whether you choose performance mode for smoothness or quality mode for visuals. So, well optimized, hopefully. Graphics are praised too. Textures, models, lighting, creating that atmosphere. And maybe most importantly, minimal game-breaking bugs mentioned. Suggest they've done their homework on testing.
That's definitely good to hear for PS5 players. So, wrapping all this up, what's the big picture, the overall impression of Assassin's Creed Shadows?
I think the overall takeaway is that it feels like a really confident, bold step for the series. It's blending that classic AC stealth DNA with more modern ideas like the dual protagonists and refined combat. The Japanese setting is obviously huge, but it's backed up by what sounds like revitalized stealth, deep combat, and maybe a more focused story. It seems to offer something for different kinds of players, stealth fans, action fans, history buffs, explorers. It really could be a very strong entry. Maybe even, as the info hints, the start of a new golden age for Assassin's Creed. Seems promising for veterans and newcomers alike.
High praise indeed. And yeah, exciting for everyone who's waited so long for this specific setting. Sounds like Shadows might just deliver what they've been hoping for.
Seems that way, yeah. Looks promising.
Well, we've definitely covered a lot of ground here, digging into what makes Assassin's Creed Shadows tick. That dual protagonist system, the immersive world, sounds really compelling. So that leads us to our final thought for you to mull over. With Naoe and Yasuke offering such different ways to play and see the world, how might experiencing events through both their eyes change how you understand the story? Think about it seeing the same conflict, the same situations as both the stealthy shinobi and the powerful samurai. Could that give you a totally different perspective on what's happening? Something to ponder as you get ready to step into feudal Japan.